Hi there, YouTube. Dominic, the CX guy here. Nice to see you again. This is another video. So today we're going to discuss routing options in Zendesk. This is a topic which has been requested by the audience, and I'm happy to oblige and to produce this content. Okay, so before we begin about talking about Zendesk routing options, please subscribe to this video. Please like it. Please write if you want to see some special content, like with a comment. And there, you can also find a optimization ebook in the description, which is 8 tips to how to optimize your Zendesk. It's amazing, and go ahead and get it. Okay, so we are going to be discussing routing options in Zendesk. So this is not necessarily one shoe fits all. So because this is an elaborate discussion in the sense that each business is different. So everyone has a different setup, but there are some rules which you can keep in mind whenever you are thinking about your routing. I will not go into the very specifics in the sense that I will not be creating like a matrix for the routing rules, because yeah, that is something which is very custom, and I would like you to do that once you realize you get the baseline going, which is what I'm going to be presenting today. So first thing that you have to think about is two things, actually. It's going to be your departments. So who in your organizations is going to be your departments, right? So who are going to be your groups inside Zendesk, and then what channels are you supporting? So this is the baseline. These are the two things. If you know these things and you pin them down very well from the very beginning of your project or setting up Zendesk, or even after you've set up your Zendesk, you can always go back to this. So ask yourself, who are the departments, and then who are the channels? Actually, it's better to start the other way around. What are the channels that I support, and then what are the departments that are going to actually support these channels? Okay, so different channels in Zendesk, right? An omni-channel, amazing customer service system. Number one is email, then you have talk, you have chat, you have forms, you have API, then you have social messaging, which includes all the social media platforms, right? So WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc., WeChat, and yeah, and so on and so forth. So in order to make these all come together, you think about, okay, so I'm supporting email, chats, and maybe forms. Okay, so these are my three specific channels that I'm supporting. Okay, who's going to be handling these? Is going to be, do I have to have a special group for each one of them? Probably not, because that's not necessarily the best option, but obviously you could do that. So what is specific about these? Am I offering support in multiple regions? Am I making, for example, support for different products that I sell or different services that I sell, right? I have one group that specializes in, I don't know, let's say cameras. It's an e-commerce and it sells cameras. And yeah, I sell in multiple countries, and then I will have, for example, a German group handling cameras that are being sold in Germany in German. And then I have a English group handling support requests from the UK that is also, yeah, providing support for the same e-commerce website. And of course, you can extrapolate this example to services. I don't know, selling one kind of, for example, online course. And then I have one group that handles that online course from Germany. And then I have another one from France that handles, yeah, same course, but in the French language, for example. This is just to get you started. I'm going to share my screen because this can get a little bit intricate and a little bit complicated. But first, coffee. All right, so let me share my screen. So I'll show you what I have prepared for you today. Not this one, this one. Here we go. So as I mentioned, there's two main things that you have to think about: departments and channels, or channels or departments. Okay, so let's start from the department. So ask yourself, what are the different departments in my organization, right? So what do I need to support? Do I have language differentiation? Do I have region differentiation? Do I have product differentiation? Do I have service differentiation? That's something that you need to think about, right? So you can have a group for billing, you can have a group for finance, you can have a group for general support requests, you can have a group for bug fixing, and so on and so forth, right? This is all down to your business. So are new tickets being routed to a team based on a specific criteria, or reviewed or triaged and assigned manually, right? So ask yourself this question. The more automatic, the better, but it might not always be possible. So depending on how much information the initial ticket contains, right? So I will go over into the details of what this means. And then, for example, for routing rules, you can have tickets are assigned to a group, or the team takes tickets proactively, right? So a ticket comes into the queue, and then agents go in and assign it to themselves or to specific groups, right? And then there's a triage or a review. So the ticket is assigned to a person, or the ticket is assigned to a group, right? So you need to think about, okay, so I'm offering support, and for example, billing is always handled by Samantha, and all the billing requests, just forward them directly to her, even though she is part of the, I don't know, whatever support general support group, she handles billing, and then she should always receive this tickets into her inbox or into her queue. The best approach that I've seen so far with companies is having a hybrid approach. So tickets are being routed to a group, but then tickets are also reassigned on review. So I have, so for example, I have some criteria that says if a ticket comes in and a language is, let's say, German language is being selected, then assign it to the German group. But then the German group, the general German group, just goes, reviews the tickets and says, okay, this is not for me. This is for Bjorn, because he's, I don't know, he handles this kinds of requests, let's say returns. Bjorn handles returns, and I'm just going to assign it to him. Or, yeah, exactly like this. You follow another example, right? So let's say Katarina handles, let's say, order requests, and then just forward it to the German order group or to Katarina directly. So this is all down to how your business works. So you have to pin that down. You have to think about these questions. So this is just to help you ask the right questions so you can understand what you can do. Because the thing is, in Zendesk, setting it up is easy. How you set it up, and why you set it up the way you do, that's the hard part. That's where you put the most effort, because after you understand why you're doing what you're doing, it's just a matter of clicking some buttons. It's just you click, add, assign, black, done, right? It's easy. That's the easy part. However, understanding why you do it, and how and what you're doing, that's the hard part. That's what you need to pin down. Everything else is just detail. It's just like a matter of finding out where the button to add a trigger is, or finding out, I don't know, where the button is to add a group and add people in that group. That's just very trivial, at least in my view. But yeah, I have 8 years of experience. But anyway, I'm also hyper from all this coffee. All right, so then think about the channels. What channels am I supporting? And I'm just going to go for a few examples of how you can use, for example, email. The best triaging that you can make right off the bat is to use an email for each of your processes. So you can have order at your company for orders, then you have billing at your company for billing, bugs at your company for bugs, supports at your company for general inquiries, and then that's very easy, because you can just create some triggers and say, if a ticket is created and the email that has been used is orders, just assign it to the order group. Done, right? And then you can have an additional layer on top and say, if a ticket is created and the billing at my company email is used and German language is selected, then just forward it to the billing, German billing group. Very easy, right? It's like the easiest thing that you can do. So a lot of companies don't want to complicate themselves, but if you complicate aerial quotes yourself a little bit at the beginning, you can go a very long way and make everything very much easier. Because most companies, in fact, in truth, they do use just one general support email address, which can work, but it's just a little bit more tedious and harder to maintain. I'll show you why. Because, for example, you can use a general support request, and all your requests for order, billing, bugs, general support inquiries, all of them end up to support at your company, which is fine. But then you have to add an additional intelligence layer on top, okay? You have to think about to add a trigger and say, if a ticket is created in support and it has the language German, then assign it to Germany. And then, for example, you can say, if a ticket is created and the keywords order or order number or refund order or change order, if these keywords are found in the body of the text or in the subject line, then assign it to the order group, right? Which is a lot harder to do because nobody uses the same keywords, right? So this is just for one language. And imagine you have to do the same for German language. You have to translate all these words into German and then all the variations in German that you can think of. And then you have French as well, all the variations in French for these words, and to make sure that you pick up and capture these keywords and assign it to the correct group. Not the best approach, in my opinion. So yeah, this is something to give you some food for thought on how you can make these adjustments. Then for forms, right? So in guide, you use a form. This is easy, well, easier because you requires a little bit more thinking from you as an admin, as in you create the form and you just add a custom field in there and you ask like, what region are you writing from or you're requesting support from, right? And they choose Spain, and then you just have a trigger waiting and saying, if a ticket is created and Spain has been chosen, assign the Spanish language and the Spanish group, and you're done, which makes it easy, right? Just assign tickets based on the language or options they choose in the different fields, right? So you can just think about like the types of requests that come into the system, right? So what can we help you with today, dear customer? And they choose from the drop down in the form, and they choose, I have an order request, I have a billing request, I have a general support request that I need today. And based on that, you can just create a trigger, obviously, and capture what the user chooses in the form and just assign it to whoever you know deals with orders or billing, right? So that makes it a bit easier, if you ask me. But yeah, not everybody uses forms. Although I recommend it, it's very, it's the best way to triage tickets, and also having this dedicated emails. Okay, then chat, so you can use departments, right? So you have a pre-chat form, so whenever a user reaches out to you, they are required to choose what department they should be routed to, and yeah, you just have your this is automatically done. It comes in the basic out of the box Zendesk. So user chooses a German group, automatically assigned to the people that are members of that group. Based on language, of course, you can create a trigger and say, if the user language is blah, is German, assign it to the German group. It's not as safe as this one. And then you have a region. Of course, you can add based on the URL that the user is using. If it has /de from Germany, then assign it to the German group. Or the website URL. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, if the user is on the cart page, okay, you want to assign it to the sales group because the sales assistant can just be there and just say, hey, yeah, let me help you make your purchase. And it is actually documented in user experience statistics that users are 3 times more likely to make a purchase if there's somebody there to assist them. So based on the URL, if they are stuck on the cart page, or if they're on the home page of your website and they're undecided, yeah, you can just assign those to, I don't know, some agents who don't deal with very complex requests, but more generalist agents. I don't know if that word exists, but anyway, I hope you understand. API, of course, you can just create a business rule saying ticket is created, API was used, just assign it to, I don't know, whatever department that you want to handle APIs. But of course, you can add an extra layer on top of this to recognize keywords, to recognize subject lines, etc. In talk, well, this is also very easy if you do it right. If you have more numbers, a number dedicated to order, a number dedicated to billing, a number dedicated to bugs, a number dedicated to general support requests, support inquiries, right? So this is very easy if you have different numbers for different regions or for different products or for different languages. Very easy. And then Facebook, okay, social media in itself is a category, and you have to think about the groups that are going to be most agile and most the fastest to get back to your customers, right? When you reach out on social media to someone, you don't want them to come back to you in the next day. You want them to come back to you within the hour, less if possible, right then and there. So this needs to be thought out, like who is agile, who can handle, who is, let's say, very fast to answer these kinds of requests, because they need to be like there, then and there, very present in the moment to get back to users within 1 hour. You can even go crazy and and create an SLA, so a service level agreement. So your agents are going to, yeah, be aware whenever these SLAs are being breached, right? So you think about who is going to handle my WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, and of course, Twitter. So now there's an additional, there's another option which you can think of is tier support and skill-based routing. These are two different approaches. Tier support. So this means that you have a tier support, right? So tier support means that you can have your team divided into 2 or 3 departments. So tier 1 is going to be the general agents that answer general requests, and all of the requests that come into the system, it doesn't matter what channel, they all feed into tier 1. Tier 1 just goes in and digs through these tickets, and they assign it according to what they find in there, right? So let's say you have the vast majority of your agents work in tier 1. These can be the more not so experienced agents, let's say, but the ones that can answer more general questions, right? So what you do is you make the triage for tier 1, and tier 1 goes through all of the tickets and assigns it to themselves, right? Or they can escalate to tier 2, for example. Tier 2 is handling more complex cases about product intricacies and bugs and things that more experienced agents usually are part of tier 2. And tier 2 are obviously less in number, and so the head count here is lower because they're more experienced, and they should handle stuff that tier 1 cannot handle by themselves. And then tier 3, this is usually left for management, and it's to handle compliance, potentially harmful deals that can damage the company image, or maybe even approvals, right? So that if you have budgets or if you have discounts, that your agents need to, escalate to you as a manager and say, hey, I need you to approve this discount for this client. Is it okay? And you give it an approval and say, yep, all good. There's also one other aspect which I have not covered here, and it's about one-touch tickets. So one-touch tickets means that these are tickets that are being handled through answer bots, or are being handled by agents by just answering a one-shot using a macro and saying, oh, this customer is asking that annoying repetitive question, so I'm just going to use this macro, give them the answer. Maybe there's a link to an article in my knowledge base, and just close the ticket, solve the ticket, and that's it. It's out of sight, out of mind. You can also think about using AnswerBot, obviously, if you have a knowledge base, to just answer these tickets, which are the more general, and solve it directly, right? And yeah, encourage users to self-serve. So they just click through the article, they read it, and then they're like, okay, this is how I change my password. Puh, very easy. Why I shouldn't have tried to get in touch with someone. I could have done this myself. Anyway, that's something which you can also think about, and it's also a routing rule, right? So also you can set up triggers. If user just asks for how to change my password, and you identify the keywords with a trigger, you just answer these types of requests with a trigger saying, hey, dear customer, thanks for reaching out, but would you mind just reading this article? And if it doesn't help, then yeah, just reply to this email, and a human will actually help you. Okay, now moving on, skill-based routing. So this is a feature in Zendesk. It's by design, so it's available, but I think it's only available in enterprise. So this works as the name suggests, based on agent skills, right? So I recommend that you start with language skill. So how this works is a ticket comes in and it gets assigned as for example, German or French or English or Spanish or whatever, Finnish, Swedish, etc. Doesn't matter. And then agents on their profile get assigned these skills, right? So there's agents that can have multiple skills. Agents can be bilingual, trilingual. I don't know how you say 4 languages, but anyway, or 5 languages. I speak 5, for example, and I could have potentially, I would be a very good support agent. Just I don't want to do that. I want to do what I'm doing now. I like it. Anyway, so I could have in my profile 5 languages. So in my views, I can have a triage and say, yeah, agents that have these skills, language skills, the agents that have German skills, French skills, and English skills are able to see these tickets. If I only have one skill, which is English, I only see English tickets. If I have 2 skills, I see obviously the 2 skills. And in that view, I use this general rule, or not general rule. I'm lacking the name right now, but it's a global rule. A global rule which says skill is, and then you just have a list of skills. In my view, for example, my unsolved tickets, and to not have too many views, not have one view for English, one for Spanish, one for German, one for French. No, just use skill-based routing in this case. And besides language, you can have product skills, right? So imagine the tier 1, tier 2, you can have it against the agent, and you can say, okay, this agent is good with, I don't know, e-commerce, and this other one is good with bugs, and this other one is good with orders, right? And then I just put these skills, and just like in the example of language, I just put that into the view, and then agent, based on the skills that they have, will be able to see the tickets that are flagged as having that skill. So yeah, all by region. I don't recommend that you go overboard. I recommend that you just start with language, see how that works, and then move on to using various product skills, because the more setup you have, the more difficult it is to maintain. So as a general philosophy, less is more. The less settings you have, the better. Obviously, having simple things is the hardest. So this is why I'm here. This is why I can help you. Reach out to me. I am obviously a consultant. I have a team of, we're 7 now, 7 people. We have various skills. We're based in various areas of Europe, and we speak various languages, all of us. So yeah, I can help you with that. This is what I'm actually saying. I'm also looking for work. I'm a consultant. Hi. I don't know if you made it this far, but I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a little bit lengthier than my let's say usual videos, but from last week. But yeah, that's it. I hope to see you soon, and take care. Bye.